Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, where you are. I hope you are doing fantastic today. This playlist is playlist number 2, and in this playlist, I am going to talk about Shadda and Sukoon. And as you all know, Shadda is this little guy here, and this is the Sukoon. And also, I will be talking about the independent Hamza, when Hamza sits independently. Also, I will be talking about Hamza with the Alif, and that is Hamza sitting sitting on the Alif. Sometimes we put it underneath the Alif, but in both cases will be Hamza with Alif, whether with the Hamza with the Fatha or the Hamza with the Kasra. And finally, I will be talking about Hamza with Waw and Ya, and this is the letter Waw and Ya. With that being said, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, Learn Arabic with Elnoor, please do so. And also show your generosity by tapping the subscribe button if you have not yet subscribed to the channel. I would appreciate that. Shukran jazilan, and let's dive right into this one. Right, we are on here. Um, Today's lesson, as I said, is about Sukoon wa Shadda. Sukoon, and this is transliterated from Arabic because I could not find anything in English that correspond to Sukoon and Shadda, so that's why I transliterated the two of them. Sukoon, a Sukoon wa Shadda. So in Arabic, Sukoon, sakana is to live, or sakana is to stay static and not doing anything. That means sakana is not to move. You just stay calm and stay without doing anything. That's sakana. Shadda, shadda is to stress. And then we have two diacritic marks. These two diacritics change the pronunciation and the meaning of Arabic words. And these two diacritics are sukoon, as I said, and sukoon here. See a little circle here, like looks like an O, the letter O in English. So that's what I mean. That's what I mean. So the sukoon only goes on top or above a letter, never underneath. And also the shadda, and the shadda here is looks like a W. So, and I mean this one looks like the W, and I highlighted the letter Ra in red and the letter Noon here in red just to indicate where the Sukun sits and where the Shadda sits as well. So these are the two diacritic marks that we are about to talk, or we are talking about today. Sukun, the little O, and the Shadda, like here. What these two diacritic marks have in common is both of them affect the pronunciation, but the shadda changes the meaning of the word. So the shadda is different than sukun in terms of the shadda changes the meaning of the word, as I said, but both of them share the fact that they affect the pronunciation of a letter or a word in Arabic. So let's go and see the sukun and the shadda here. So it's a small circle, as I said, looks like the O, the letter O in English, and we put the sukun above or on top of a letter to indicate that that letter is like there is no movement, there is no sorry, there is no fatha on that letter, there is no kasra, there is no dhamma on that one. So put this, the sukun to indicate that there is no movement on the in that letter. So that letter is like static. And it indicates that the absence of any vowel sound, so no vowel sound, whether it's short vowel or long vowel, there is no sound whatsoever. So that's why we put a sukun. And also sukun works as a divider, as it divides word into syllables. So in English, we have, let's take the example of the word beautiful, beautiful. So we have three syllables, beau, T, this is another syllable, and full. These are three syllables. In Arabic, we divide these syllables by putting the sukun. So imagine the sukun, like the long vowel and the short vowels work as if say I'm going to give an analogy here. Maybe it's not a perfect analogy, but as if you are, say driving a car. So whenever you hit the gas pedal, that's kind of like a movement that kind of accelerates, like the pace of your distance. And if you are, climbing up a hill, so you need to push even more. So when you're climbing up the hill, so that's the long vowels in Arabic. So you push the pedal, the pedal, the gas pedal hardly. So that's pronounced noise. And in Arabic, that is like ah, e, u. These are long vowels, a lot of noise. As opposed to short vowels like the shadda, sorry, the fatha, the kasra, and the dhamma, as if you are going like just the regular, like very flat ground. You kind of hit the gas pedal very moderately. So when you hit the brake, so that's the sukoon. The sukoon is just hit the brake to separate, like we hit the brake here in order to separate the, like the syllables. Break, break, break. These are the sukoons in Arabic. So also the sukoon is always placed on top of the letters. Let's take some examples to illustrate what I have just said. My analogy, I hope that makes sense, but if it does not, we will go with more examples here to illustrate that. So anta, I put a sukoon here on top of the letter noon, anta. And anta, as I said, is you, masculine, you singular masculine. Anta, that's the personal pronouns. If you have not yet watched my video about personal pronouns, also I highly suggest that you go back and watch that video. Anta. So see, anta. So we hit the break. And we don't go anet. Say anta. So this is the first syllable. An, that's the first one, and then ta, the second syllable. So we put the sukoon anta, and we do not put any short vowels here. We do not put the fatha. We do not put the kasra on the noon. We do not put the dhamma on the noon because the noon is in a static non-movement. The move is noon. The letter noon is not in motion. It's just we put the sukoon anta, two syllables. Let's move to marhaba. Marhaba is welcome. Marhaba, marhaba. So we separate the two syllables by mar, that's the first one. We put the sukoon on the letter ra, and then haba, marhaba. Let's move to ahlan wa sahlan. So ahlan, ah. So we put a sukoon on the letter ha, ahlan, wa, and wa is and, sahlan, sah. So we put the sukoon on the last, when we hit the break, sah, we put the sukoon, sahlan. So in this case, we put it on the letter sahlan. Okay, moving to ismi, ismi and nur. So my name is isim, ism, isim is name, me is, that's the possessive, me, the possessive, my name is Elnoor. So is me. So as you can see here, there are two syllables here. Is me. Is me and Noor. Is me and Noor. We cannot put sukoon here because An-Nur is only one word, one syllable, An-Nur. But is me. Is me. Anta. Marhaba. Ahlan. Wa sahlan. Is me. An-Nur. Ma ismuk. Ma ismuk. So ma is what? And ismuk. Since I said ismi is my name, ismuk is your name, singular, masculine. Ma ismuk. So also we placed the sukoon here to indicate that we have two syllables. We need to separate them. We go here and we hit the brake and then we continue going. We keep going. Ismuk, ismuk. So the sukoon separates the two syllables. Ismuk. Okay, this is about the sukoon, and I hope these examples illustrate what I said in order to get an idea of what I'm saying about this diacritic mark. Moving to the next diacritic, and we call it shadda. And shadda actually is like to stress or to double something, to stress on something. So shadda here, it looks like the letter W in English. See here? And this circle is just as a seed for this one. So this is the one that I mean it, shadda. So what the shadda does is the shadda does affect the pronunciation and the meaning of the Arabic words, of an Arabic word. So let's take some examples here to illustrate what I just said about the shadda. What is true about the shadda is like the same words, the same letters, but when we put the shadda on any of the letters, that completely change the meaning and the pronunciation of that word. So let's take darasa. Say darasa. We have only one syllable, darasa, darasa, and darasa is to study. And in transliteration, I just transliterated darasa, 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 darasa. Okay, so let's deviate from that and let's place the shadda on the letter ra. See the shadda here? Ra. So the shadda accepts to be placed underneath the fatha, and also I can place a kasra, and so we place the fatha on top of the shadda. Also we can place the kasra underneath it, and also we can place the short vowel dhamma on top of it. So the shadda accept all the short vowels. So here we pronounce darasa, and in this one we say darrasa, darrasa, darrasa. So darasa is to study, darrasa is to teach someone. So darrasa is casual, or sorry, causal. So it's you causing someone to learn. So the causal effect is here. Darasa, darrasa. And I transliterate it here, say darrasa, as if I have two R's. But in reality, I have here one R, but I put the shadda stressed on it. But the pronunciation looks like I have two R's. Darrasa, darrasa. So that's what the shadda does. So amina, amina is to be safe, like in yourself, like just you need to be safe. Drive slowly to be safe, not to harm yourself or someone else. Amina, to be safe. Amina, that's how I transliterate it. Amina, amina, amina is to be safe, as opposed to ammana. Ammana, see the pronunciation is different. Ammana. Here, amina, like one word, there is no syllables, only one syllable. Here, ammana, like two syllables. Ammana, as if I am having two M's, but in reality I have one, but the stress on the shadda makes it like two M's. See, ammana, ammana, and ammana is to secure. That means not to secure yourself, but to secure something else. Say you secure your building or your house, or you secure your office by locking the office, or you just secure, any other places to secure it or to make it safe. So amina is to be safe within yourself. Ammana is to make something else safe. See the this is how the shadda affects the meaning. And the last one here is alima. Alima is to know. Alima, to know. And the transliteration here is alima, alima, alima. And here, allama, allama. So when we put the shadda, for the meaning moves from to know to teach. Allama. So allama, that like I teach you something. أنا أعلمكم أعلمكم. So علم is to teach somebody else. And here in the transliteration is علم علم. So these are the effects of the shadda, as it changes the meaning and the pronunciation of any words. Okay, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today for this video. And I think this video is very important because, like when you see all these diacritic marks, so you will know how you read it and how you interpret the meaning. So today we are going to talk about the Hamza when Hamza stands alone with no seat. Like Hamza does not need a chair today. Let's kick off and see how Hamza can stand alone, or how the Hamza can handle being alone without having a seat to sit on it. Let's go there right now. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so, share it, like it, so you will get more videos and more uploads as I do them or as I upload them. مرحبا مرة ثانية. Welcome again. This is the Elnoor channel, Learn Arabic with Dr. Elnoor. And this is the Hamza, the third part of the Hamza. As I promised, today will be the final lesson talking about the Hamza. The previous video talked about the Hamza when Hamza was, sitting on the Alif, or when Hamza sits on the Alif. And the second video talked about the Hamza sitting on the Waw and on the Ya. And today we are talking about the Hamza sitting independently with no seat. Hamza today does not need any seat or any chair. Let's figure out how that is possible. So let's see Hamza in the middle. And why we started Hamza being in the middle, because as I said in the beginning, when the Hamza is at the beginning of a word, you starting a word with the Hamza, always the Hamza sits on the Alif. Whether it's the Kasra, the Hamza sits underneath the Alif, but it still needs the Alif to be there. So that's why today's focus is the Hamza sitting alone or standalone Hamza in the middle and towards the end. So let's figure that out. So number one, we have two rules here talking about the Hamza sitting alone in the middle. The Hamza is written independently when it has a Fatha. So the Hamza itself has a Fatha, as you can see here, Fatha. The Hamza has a Fatha, 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 and the Hamza has the Fatha, and the Hamza has the Fatha here. So that's rule number one. So rule number one is kind of common rule, but with that rule, the Hamza has to be preceded with the long vowel Alif. In these examples, sorry, we see here qira'ah, and qira'ah is reading. So the Hamza here has the Alif and preceded by the long vowel Alif. Qira'ah. Isa'a, Isa'a, Isa'a. Isa'a is defamation, or you talk, bad about somebody. It's called Isa'a, defamation. Isa'a. So the Hamza has the Fatha and preceded by the long vowel Alif. That's why the Hamza is seated alone here, is standing alone here with no seat. The same rule applies for Qira'ah. Atasa'al, Atasa'al. Atasa'al is I ask. So Atasa'al, the Hamza here has the Fatha, as we mentioned, and preceded by the long vowel Alif. Atasa'al. So in this case, the Hamza does not need a seat. Also, Tafa'ala. Tafa'ala is to be optimistic. Tafa'ala. And as you can see here, the Hamza has the Alif, has the Fatha, and preceded by the long vowel Alif. Long vowel Alif. Tafa'ala. That is rule number A. But the Hamza in all these three different sub-rules, the Hamza has to have the Fatha, and this is the Fatha. And then with that Fatha on the Hamza, in order for the Hamza to be sitting alone, or to be seated alone with no help or no chair, number one, preceded by the long vowel. Number two, the Hamza is preceded by the long vowel Waw. So in A is preceded by the long vowel Alif. Here is preceded by the long vowel Waw. And let's do some readings here. Maqru'ah, Maqru'ah. Maqru'ah is read. Something is being read by some, because I read a book, so the book will be maqru, kitab maqru. I read it, it's read. Something that being read. Maqru'ah. But here I can tell you something is feminine. That's why the Hamza is sitting here in the middle and then the ta marbuta. Maqru'ah. So the Hamza has a fatha and preceded by the long vowel wow. Muru'ah. Muru'ah. And muru'ah here is like generosity or being, like somebody is being at his or her best, doing good things to others. Muru'ah. 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 So the Hamza has the fatha and then preceded by the long vowel wow. Muru'ah. Mamlu'ah. Mamlu'ah is filled. Something is being filled by water or milk or something. Mamlu'ah. So you see the Hamza has the fatha and then preceded by the long vowel wow. Mamlu'ah. So in this case, when the Hamza has the fatha and preceded by the long vowel wow, the Hamza is seated alone. And in this one, the Hamza has the fatha and preceded by the long vowel alif, the Hamza is sits alone or be seated, will be just independently written with no help or no chair. Let's see number C. C, when the Hamza has the fatha, that's still the case, and preceded by waw with the sukoon. And when any letter, say the long vowel waw, alif, or the long vowel ya, has the sukoon, these behave like consonants, not long vowels anymore. Because so this one, I won't call it the long vowel, but it's a waw with the sukoon. So the Hamza also sits alone when it's preceded by waw with the sukoon. Daw'aha, daw'aha. So daw is light, so daw'aha is its light, or maybe her light. So in Arabic, like there is no distinction between it, feminine, or she. It's the same. So daw'aha. So this light belongs to something feminine. Daw'aha. So in this case, the Hamza is seated or just sitting alone with no seat here. That's the rule number one. Rule number two, when the Hamza has a Dhamma, here we say the Hamza has the Fatha. Here the Hamza has the Dhamma and preceded by the long vowel, I should say the letter Waw with the Sukoon. Doesn't behave here like a long vowel, but Daw'uhu, Daw'uhu. So the Waw has the Sukoon and the Hamza has the Dhamma. Daw'uhu. So in this case also the Hamza is written separately or independently with no help or with no chair. So these are the two cases or the two situations where the Hamza is seated alone. It takes time for you to go back and review this more and more and more in order to grasp the concept. So let's move and see when the Hamza is Hamza at the end. The Hamza at the end. So the Hamza at the end will be written independently when it's preceded by any letter with a sukoon. So any letter could be, like I highlighted in red, could be any letter. So in this case, let's read this. So ib is burden, like a burden of something, burden to prove something or burden to do something. Ib, called ib. So the ba has the sukoon preceding the hamza, so that's why the hamza is seated alone. Also, jaza, so the hamza, the long vowel, actually is like jaza, not really long vowel, but long vowel has the sukoon, and then the hamza is sitting by itself. Hudu is calmness or something being quiet. Hudu. So the hamza has the waw has the sukoon, so then the hamza is written independently. Thank you so much. مع السلامة يا شباب. See you شباب. أراكم في الفيديو القادم. See you in the next video. And so let's discover the Hamza today together. And with that being said, let's kick this off right now. This is the Hamza that we are talking about. See this in red? This is the Hamza. And as I said, the sound, or when we pronounce the Hamza, we say and the Hamza function as a consonant, not as a vowel or a long vowel. If it has that sound, the sound comes from the back of the throat, and it's a glottal stop. Not short. And the closest example is uh-oh for those who speak English. Some people say that a lot. Uh-oh. So the first syllable, that's the sound of the Hamza. So the Hamza sits, we have three different seats or three different chairs that we sit the Hamza on these chairs or on them. The first one, the Hamza sits on the long vowel Alif, and also it does sit on the long vowel Wa, and it sits on the long vowel Ya, and the Hamza can stand alone, like, or can sit independently in the middle of the word or at the end of the word, never at the beginning. So at the beginning of the word, the Hamza has to sit has to sit on the Alif at the beginning. When you start with the Hamza, Alif must be there in order to start that word. The Hamza will never sit on the Waw or on the Ya at the beginning of the word. When you start with a word, the Hamza cannot sit on the Waw, neither nor on the Ya, but always sits on the Alif at the beginning. And with that being said, let's discover today is only we are going to talk about the Hamza sitting on the long vowel Alif only for today, because the Hamza is kind of long and it needs a lot of explanation. So that's why I divided up the video into three different segments. So we can talk about the Hamza in different segments. The first segment is Hamza sitting on the Alif, and the second segment will be the Hamza sitting on the Waw and the Ya, and the third and last one will be the Hamza that, standing alone, or when the Hamza is independently alone with no seat or with no chair. So let's figure that out today. And in order to find a seat, because we have three different seats, we have the long vowel Alif, the long vowel Waw, and the long vowel Ya. In order to determine the proper seat for the Hamza, you need to remember or to memorize these diacritics, or these three short vowels, and the sukoon. See the kasra, and the kasra is this here underneath the ba. This is the kasra, and the kasra is the strongest. So the kasra dictates the seating, and also we have the second strongest, and that is the Dhamma. And here's the Dhamma. So the Dhamma is the second strongest. And the third strongest is the Fatha. And last one, or the weakest, is the Sukoon. And the Sukoon is just looks like this O, but it's a tiny O. We put it on top of a letter. That's the Sukoon. So the Sukoon is the weakest one. So if you have the Kasra, so since we said the Kasra is the strongest, in determining the seating or the seat for the Hamza, we need to look at two things. We need to look at the Hamza itself and the letter that precedes it. So in this case, the letter that precedes the Hamza is the letter Ba, and the letter Ba has the Kasra here. And we said the Kasra is the strongest. So that means the Kasra gives you the Ya, and the Hamza in this case must be seated on the Ya, because the previous one has the Kasra, and the Hamza itself, here's the Hamza, has the Fatha. So the Kasra is stronger than the Fatha. The Kasra dictates the seating, which is the Ya. And the Ya, we don't put the dots here. When we see a Hamza on top of the Ya, we do not put the two dots of the Ya. And also see here how we determine the seating, the proper seating for the Hamza here. So we have our Hamza here, and we have the letter that precedes the Hamza. So all we care about is these two, the Hamza and the letter that precedes it. So this one is the letter Sin. The Sin has the Dhamma, and the Hamza has the Fatha. And we say that the Dhamma is stronger than the Fatha, because the Dhamma is the second stronger, means the Fatha is weaker than the Dhamma. So the Dhamma dictates the seeding. The Dhamma dictates the proper seeding, and the Dhamma brings us the Waw as a seed for the Hamza. Su'al. Su'al. Su'al is question. Bi'r. Bi'r here, bi'r is the well that we, get water out of it. So people like in some places go to the well and take water out of the well. So that's they call it bi'r. Okay, let's see sa'ala. So sa'ala is to ask, and we take a look at the dhamma, the hamza here, and the letter that precedes the hamza. The letter that precedes the hamza here is the sin, the letter sin, and the sin has the fatha, and the hamza has the fatha. So the fatha brings you the alif as a seed for the hamza. So that's why we seeded our hamza here on the letter alif, the long vowel alif. So to recap, the fatha gives you the alif as a seed for the hamza. The wow, the dhamma gives you the wow as a seed, and kasra gives you the ya as a seed for the hamza. And we need to remember these in order. Strongest, kasra, dhamma, fatha, sukoon. So sukoon has no influence here, but later on in segment number 2, we will see the effect of the sukoon in determining the seeding for the hamza. So I cannot stress enough to know these: the kasra, the dhamma, the fatha, the sukoon, from the strongest to the weakest. So this is how we determine the seeding for the hamza. Moving on. So as I said, today the focus is only on the hamza seeding on the alif. That's it, only for today. So let's see the hamza when the hamza falls the beginning of the word, like in these examples. See the hamza here at the beginning, the beginning, at the beginning, the beginning. So let's see the rules for this one. So the rule for this one is pretty simple. When the hamza has the fatha and the hamza falls at the beginning, or you start your word with the hamza, as in this one, so so you put the hamza and you put the fatha on top of the hamza. Ana, ana is I am or I. Aktub, aktub, so we put the hamza on the alif and we put the fatha. Aktub, aktubu, aktub is I write, like to write something. Adrus, so darasa is to study. Adrus is I study or I am studying. So adrus, so the alif, the hamza had the fatha and the seeding is alif. And as I said, when you start a word with the hamza, the alif is always the seeding. We will never seed the hamza on the waw or on the ya, or independently at the beginning, unless there are a few examples that in the Holy Quran, so you can see the hamza in different positions. But the general rule is the hamza only at the beginning sits on the alif. If the hamza had the fatha, we put the hamza and then the alif on top of the hamza. Adrus, akh is brother. Also we seeded the hamza and then we put the fatha. Amal is hope, and also it's a female name. We put it the hamza and then we put the fatha on top of the hamza. Asad is lion, the African lion. So we put the hamza and then we put the fatha on top of the hamza. So this is when the hamza has the fatha. And when the hamza has the kasra, like ibn, i, so here we say a, here we say i, because the hamza has the kasra. So we have the seeding, and always the beginning is the alif, and then we put the hamza underneath the alif, and also we put the kasra underneath the hamza. Ibn, and ibn is son, like your son, my son, somebody else's son. Ibrahim. So also the hamza has the kasra, so we place the hamza underneath the alif and the kasra underneath the hamza. Ibrahim, Abraham. Ida is if, like if condition. Also the hamza has the kasra, that's why we place it here. Ikhwat, ikhwat is sisters. Also the hamza here has the kasra, and then we put the kasra underneath the hamza, and the seeding, even though it's not the seeding anymore, but has to be there. The alif has to be here because the seeding is the hamza on the top, that's the seeding, but we kind of flipped the seeding. But anyway, the alif must be here for the hamza because always the alif supports the hamza at the beginning. Ism is noun, and I mean grammatical noun, and also ism means name, like my name, ismi, ismuk, your name. So the hamza has the kasra, and we put the alif here. So let's see when the hamza has the dhamma. Dhamma, see the little wow here, that's the dhamma. Um, um, is mother. So the hamza will be placed on top of the alif, and the dhamma is on top of the hamza. Totally opposite to when the hamza has the kasra. We place everything underneath the alif, here above or on top of the alif. Mother. Uhibbu, I like or I love. Also because the alif, the hamza has the dhamma, that's why we place the hamza and then we put the dhamma. Uruba, that's the cabinet, is Europe. Uruba. Uruba. Australia, I think you can figure that out. Australia is Australia. Also the hamza has the dhamma, we place the hamza on top of the alif, and then we put the dhamma on top of the hamza. Australia. Uhud. Uhud is a mountain in Saudi Arabia, so that's why the alif or the hamza has the dhamma. That's why we put the hamza on top of the alif and the dhamma. Uhud. Ustad. Ustad. Ustad is a professor or teacher. Ustad. Ustad. Yeah. So these are the rules of the hamza. Moving on. So let's see the second situation where the hamza is in the middle of the word. So like in these examples, we have ta'rikh. So the hamza here, that's why we hear the sound a, ta'rikh. If the hamza is not here, we would say tarikh. That would be a long vowel. But when the hamza sits on the long vowel is not a long vowel anymore. As in this example, we do not say tarikh, but we say ta'rikh, because the hamza is kind of shortening. Ta'rikh. And how we determine the seating here? You need to go back and remember the rule that I told you about, and you need to memorize that by heart. The kasra is the strongest, the dhamma is the second, the fatha is the third strongest, and the sukoon is the weakest. So we take a look only, we focus on two things. The first one is the hamza itself and the letter that precedes the hamza. And in this case is the letter ta. So see, the letter ta has the short vowel fatha, or the diacritic fatha, and the hamza had the fatha. So that's why the fatha brings you the alif to be as a seed, to be seeded, to be a seed for the hamza. Tarikh. That's how we determine the seeding for the hamza is alif, because of the fatha. Okay, and tarikh is history. Also could be like the date, today's date. Tarikh al-yawm. Okay, moving. Sa'ala. Sa'ala is to ask, and we seeded the hamza on the alif because the hamza has the fatha, and the letter sin has the fatha. So the fatha, two fatha, bring you the seeding, the alif, for as a chair for the hamza to be sit on. Sa'ala. Ras. So ras is head, ras. And we look at the hamza and the letter that precedes. And the letter that precedes is the letter ra. And the ra the letter Ra has the Fatha and the Hamza has the Sukoon. And we said that the Fatha is stronger than the Sukoon. Then the Fatha dictates the Alif. So that's why the Hamza is seated on the Alif because of the Fatha being stronger than the Sukoon. Ras is head. Imra'a. Imra'a is woman or a woman. Imra'a. Here we look at the Hamza and the letter that precedes, and these two letters have the Fatha. So that's why the Fatha brings you the Alif for the seeding or as a seed for the Hamza. Imra'a. Tha'ar. So Tha'ar or Tha'ara. Tha'ar is revenge. So we have Tha. And by the way, the Hamza here has the Sukoon, but the the fatha is stronger than the sukoon, so that's why the fatha dictates the alif as a seed for the hamza. Ra'a is to see. Also, ra'a, the hamza has the sukoon, and the letter ra has the fatha, and the fatha is stronger than the sukoon. The fatha brings you the alif as a seed for the hamza. Ra'a. Mas'ala. Mas'ala. We take a look here at the Hamza, and the Hamza has the Fatha, and the letter that precedes has the Sukoon. And we say this Fatha is stronger than the Sukoon, so the Fatha dictates the seeding, which is the Alif. Okay, I think we are clear about how to determine the seed or the seeding for the Hamza. And we only talking about the long vowel Alif. And we said when the long vowel alif is used as a seed, it is no longer a long vowel. So the effect of the hamza. So let's look at the final thing here is when the hamza falls at the end or at the end of a word. Hanna'a is to congratulate. So the hamza has the sukoon here, and the previous one has the fatha. The fatha is stronger than the sukoon, so the fatha dictates the seeding, which is the alif. Naba is like news. The ba has the fatha and the hamza has the sukoon. The sukoon is weaker than the fatha, so then the stronger determines the seeding, which is in this case the alif, because the fatha gives you the alif. Here we kind of like survival of the fittest. The stronger survives. The weak, the stronger survives in determining the seed or the chair for the hamza to be seated on. Mala'a is to fill, like to fill something with water or with something. Mala'a. So the hamza has the fatha and the lam has the fatha. So the fatha gives you the alif for as a seed. That's why the hamza is seated on the alif here. Bada'a is to start. So the dal, the letter dal has the fatha and the letter the hamza. I wouldn't say the letter hamza because like there's a disagreement between the two schools. But the Hamza has the Fatha. So both have the Fatha, and the Fatha gives you the Alif as a seed for the Hamza. Qara'a is to read. Also Fatha, see the Alif as a seed for the Hamza. Laja'a is to resort. And we see the Jim has the Fatha, and the Hamza here has Sukoon. I didn't put the Sukoon, but the Sukoon is weaker than the Fatha, so the Fatha determines which seed, and in this case is Alif. And the next segment or next video, I will be talking about the Hamza seeding on the Waw and the Ya. Are we ready? Buckle up. So we are going to have kind of a bumpy ride. The CD Hamza. Just to recap what I have said for the previous video or in the previous video about the Hamza. So the Hamza is this little letter here. If Hamza is a letter, some people like disagree on that. But the Hamza functions as a consonant, as I said, is not as a long vowel, and also is produced from the back of the throat. And you say, that's the sound of the Hamza. And the Hamza has three different seeds and could stand alone. So these three different seeds is the long vowel alif and the long vowel waw and the long vowel ya. And as I said, and as I mentioned previously, when Hamza is seated on one of these three long vowels, or these three long vowels will no longer be long vowels, will be like consonant, and the Hamza can sit independently by itself. So the third video will be about the Hamza being alone or stand alone Hamza. Hamza being by itself, not sitting on any of the long vowels. Let's figure out the Hamza. And before we figure out the seating for the Hamza, we need to remember the rules. And the rules here are actually one rule, but four different sets. The first one is the kasra, and the kasra is the strongest. The dhamma is the second strongest. The fatha, the third strongest, and the weakest is the sukoon. And this is the kasra here for those who have not watched my first video or my previous videos. And this is the dhamma, and this is the fatha, and the sukoon looks like a little O. See the letter O? That's the sukoon. So we need to remember these in order. The kasra, the dhamma, the fatha, the sukoon has to be in this order. So when you have the kasra, always the seeding is the ya. And when we seed the hamza on the ya, we do not put the dots for the ya. That when we have the kasra. And when we have the dhamma brings you the waw as a seed. We seed the hamza on the waw. We don't, in case that we don't have a kasra, because if we have a kasra and the kasra is stronger than the dhamma, so the kasra prevails. So that's the rule. And also here sa'ala, and sa'ala is to ask, su'al is question, bi'r is a well. So sa'ala, the hamza is seated on the long vowel alif because we have the fatha here and we have another fatha. So two fatha. So in the general rule is the fatha brings you the alif as a seed, the dhamma brings you the waw as a seed, and the kasra brings you the ya for the seed. The sukoon, will see the effect of the sukoon in the third video, not so much in the second video. Sometimes we have some cases, but noticeably will be the third and the last video about the hamza. So let's see the rules. So today is hamza with long vowels, yeah, as a seed. So we said that we are going to talk about the hamza seeding on the ya and on the waw. So this one is hamza seeding on the ya. Let's discover the rule. So when we see hamza on the long vowel ya, we do not put the dot. I have already mentioned that. When there is a kasra on the hamza or the preceding letter. So the rule here to remember is we only care about two letters, the hamza itself and the letter that precedes the hamza. We see the diacritics or the short vowels on these two letters. For instance, here we have the letter ba, and ba, the letter ba has the kasra. See the kasra, and the hamza itself has the sukoon. So the kasra is the strongest. So the kasra dictates the ya as a seed for the hamza. Bi'r, and bi'r is the well. As'ila, as'ila is questions. We only focus on the hamza and the letter that precedes the hamza. So in that case, the letter sin and the hamza. And as you can see here, the letter sin has the sukoon and the hamza has the kasra. So the kasra dictates the ya as a seed. So that's why we seeded the hamza on the ya. As'ila. Ra'id. Ra'id. So the alif, the long vowel alif always has the fatha. Because ra'id has the kasra, and the hamza has, sorry, the long vowel alif has the fatha always will have the fatha. If there is no fatha, it will be a hamza on it. So Ra'id is pioneer or military rank. It's major, the rank of major, also called Ra'id. So the hamza has the kasra and the long vowel alif has the fatha. So the kasra dictates the seeding, which is the ya. and that's why we see the Hamza over the Ya. Ra'id. Kafi is sufficient or something enough. Kafi, we have the letter Fa has the kasra, and the Hamza itself has the sukoon, and the kasra is stronger than the sukoon, so the Hamza is seated on the Ya. So let's see some the Hamza, the effects of, or actually one effect of Hamza when there is a sukoon. So in terms of hay'a, fay'a, bi'a. And the rule is when Hamza comes after the long vowel ya, see, here's the long vowel ya, here, long vowel ya. When the Hamza comes after the long vowel ya with the sukoon, we have to see the Hamza on the ya. We have to. Because here is the long vowel ya, and the ya has the sukoon. See the effect of the sukoon? So this is the only case where the sukoon dictates the seating instead of the kasra. Because the kasra is the strongest, the sukoon is the weakest. But the weakest prevails here in this case. So you have the letter ya and the hamza. So the ya has the sukoon, ya being the long vowel has the sukoon, the hamza has to be seated on the ya, hay'a. Hay'a is like organization or corporation. Fay'a, also we have the long vowel ya, and the long vowel has the sukoon, the hamza has to be seated on the ya, as the rule says. Bi'a is environment. Also we have the long vowel ya with the sukoon, and we have the hamza. We have to sit the hamza of the ya regardless of, because we know the fatha is stronger than the sukoon, but in this case we have the long vowel ya with the sukoon. The seating for the hamza will be another ya with no dots, and that is the rule. Okay, let's move to the last one, hamza with the long vowel wow. So why we sit, or why we seated the hamza on the wow here? Also, the same rule applies. The rule that says we only take a look at the hamza and the letter that precedes it. In this case, the letter that precedes the hamza is the letter ba, and ba has the dhamma, so bu, and then the hamza has the sukoon. So the dhamma is stronger than the sukoon, then the hamza has to be seated on the wow. Bu's is misery. Lu'lu is pearl, P-E-A-R-L, pearl, lu'lu. So we take a look at the hamza and the letter that precede. In this case, we are going to separate this one word into two syllables, sorry, because lu'lu, two hamzas. So we separate it and we take a look at the hamza and the letter that precedes the hamza, and that is the letter lam. Lam has the dhamma, and the hamza has the sukoon. The dhamma is stronger than the sukoon, so the hamza in this case has to be seated on the waw, as the dhamma dictates it. And the other part also, the same rule for this one applies to the second part. Su'al is question. We have to take a look at the hamza, and the hamza in this case has the fatha, and the letter that precedes the hamza has the dhamma. So the dhamma is stronger than the fatha, then the dhamma dictates the letter waw as a seat for the hamza. Yu'addi is to lead, like to lead to something. Yu'addi, also we take a look at the hamza. The hamza has the fatha, and the letter that before the hamza has the dhamma. The dhamma is stronger than the fatha, so the seating for the hamza must be the waw, due to having the dhamma here on the letter that precedes the hamza. Tasha'um, tasha'um is pessimism. Tasha'um, also we take a look at the hamza and the letter that precedes the hamza. So the hamza has the dhamma, and the letter that precedes has the fatha. The dhamma is stronger, so and the dhamma dictates the waw as a seat for the hamza. So that's why we put waw as a seat for the hamza. Tafa'ul is completely opposite of tasha'um, which is optimism. Tafa'ul, the Hamza has the Dhamma, and the letter that precedes the Hamza has the Fatha. The Dhamma is stronger, so and the stronger dictates. So pretty much like the survival of the fittest, that whoever is stronger survives. Except in one case, only when there is a Ya with the Sukoon, the Hamza has to be seated on the Ya. That's the only case where the weaker or the weakest prevails or survives. Thank you so much. Ma'as salama. Bye bye. Peace.